Hello, everyone, and welcome back to EnglishPod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have a very special lesson for everyone. It's a new level for us.
Right, it's an advanced media lesson, and we are going to be listening to an apology. Well, it's an apology letter, but we're going to actually have someone talk it out.
Right, so what's happening here is someone is reading a letter they've written, and they're trying to apologize for something, and we don't really know what this something is, but I want everyone to really listen here to the words that are being used and to the ways in which we can say sorry, because as they say, there are 1,000 ways to say I'm sorry.
Dear Mary, I come here today in this way because I need to apologize to you. I failed you. Although I did not lie to you in words, I lied to you with faces that did not belong to me. I never meant to ruin the friendship that meant the world to me. You mean the world to me, and now I come to you asking for forgiveness. If in your heart you find you can't, then I will understand and learn from this experience. You came into my life at a time when I needed you the most. We talked about so many things that I started to realize my heart and my soul could actually feel something other than hurt. You placed comfort where there was fear, confidence when there was doubt, a shoulder where tears could fall, and completeness where there was emptiness. I wanted to hold on to this so badly that I did whatever it took for you to notice. What I didn't realize was that I could lose my entire being, all of who I was and all of that I had placed in you. I wanted to be the one who would be there when you needed to talk. I wanted to be the comfort for your soul when the world was too much to handle. I wanted to be strong for you when everything else seemed impossible. I wanted to love you in only the way you deserved to be loved, never realizing that I was destroying myself and you. Somehow I needed you to be a part of my life. The only problem was that I was willing to jeopardize everything to get that done. All the things that I told you about how I felt and how you make me feel were true. Nothing else mattered to me except hearing the laughter in your voice when you were happy. You made my days easy to get through and my nights peaceful. You helped me look forward to another day. Even though distance separated us, just being was enough. I'm sorry for hurting you, and if I had to do it all over again, I would have been 100% with you. Forgive me, please.
All right, we're back. So the guy seemed to be pretty sad.
Yeah, this is a very intense, it's not a dialogue, it's a monologue. One person is reading it, so it's a very intense monologue.
Very romantic.
Yeah, romantic, but also an air of melancholy.
Yeah, that's true. He's kind of like apologizing and at the same time expressing love and all these feelings. So it was very interesting. But why don't we take a look at a couple of phrases. Now, in advanced media, we're not going to analyze the entire dialogue or, as we do in the other levels, actually pick out items for language takeaway or fluency builder. So in advanced media, we're only going to pick out a couple of words and phrases and just talk about it and talk about the topic in general.
Exactly. And so one of the first phrases that we decided to talk about here is this phrase, I failed you, because this is really the theme of the letter.
Right. So if you fail someone, it means that you let that person down.
Okay, so you fail someone. I failed you, or you can say, he failed me.
So when I really needed that person the most, that person didn't come through or let me down or failed me.
All right, so let's give an example maybe. I needed my brother to pick me up because I don't have a car. And my brother was supposed to pick me up at 4 o'clock and he forgot. He didn't come. So he really failed me.
All right, he failed you.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Well, that's not as serious as what happened here in this letter, I think, right?
I think so, but we can talk about what did happen. I think I have a theory, and I know you have a theory, so we can talk about that in a minute. But before that, we have some other phrases about forgiveness and disappointment.
Right. Well, he also said, you mean the world to me, and now I come to you asking for forgiveness.
Okay, so we've got a positive and a negative. So the positive here is, you mean the world to me. You mean the world to me. Mm-hmm. This means you are so important to me. You're one of the most important people in my life. You're worth the entire world, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a very poetic way of saying you're very important.
Yeah.
And then he says, and now I come asking for your forgiveness.
Okay, so this implies that he did something wrong. I come asking for forgiveness. So in English, we ask for forgiveness. You can also beg for forgiveness.
Right.
So please forgive
forgive
me.
me.
But this
You can't demand forgiveness, though.
I demand you forgive. No, that doesn't quite work.
All right. What else do we have?
We've got the world again here. He says, the guy who's reading, he says, I wanted to be the comfort for your soul. So this is very, again, poetic. When the world was too much to handle.
Wow.
Too much to handle is a really important English phrase.
Right.
And I'm sure you've heard it before, but we could talk about it a little bit here.
Right. So he says when everything else was too much to handle. So everything was so difficult or it was overwhelming.
Right. So you could say even in the office, man, all this work I have to do, it's too much to handle.
Right. Okay.
So too much to handle. You could also say a child is too much to handle. I think they said this about my brother. He was very difficult growing up.
Too hard. He's too difficult to handle.
All right.
Well, what about in the part where he says, you place comfort where there was fear, confidence where there was doubt. So this structure is interesting because you placed something where there used to be something else.
So you're replacing something, you're changing something for something else. It's an exchange. So you could say you placed comfort where there was fear, you placed
Happiness where there was sadness.
where there was sadness.
So it's always like kind of opposites, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Instead
Light
of,
where there was dark.
Right, exactly. So that's an interesting format of saying something. You did something where there used to be something else. All right. And what about this word to jeopardize?
This is a good one. I always think of the TV game show Jeopardy, but that's a noun. This here is a verb, to jeopardize, and that means to put something in danger or to risk losing something.
Okay, so to jeopardize your health if you're doing something dangerous.
So smoking jeopardizes one's health.
You're putting your health at risk.
Or I don't want to jeopardize my savings by investing everything I have in stocks. That means I would prefer to do something safer.
So you don't like to jeopardize your well-being.
I like to play it safe, as we say.
All right, very good. And last but not least, this almost the last phrase when he says, even though distance separated us, just being was enough. What does he mean when he says just being was enough?
All right, this is very romantic, intensely romantic. He says, even though we were far apart, just being, so just existing, just breathing was enough. So just knowing that she's in the world was enough for him to feel happy.
So that's what he means with just being was enough.
Right, so being is existing. It's being alive.
Okay, very good. I think we should listen to this apology letter one more time and we'll be back.
Dear Mary, I come here today in this way because I need to apologize to you. I failed you. Although I did not lie to you in words, I lied to you with faces that did not belong to me. I never meant to ruin the friendship that meant the world to me. You mean the world to me, and now I come to you asking for forgiveness. If in your heart you find you can't, then I will understand and learn from this experience. You came into my life at a time when I needed you the most. We talked about so many things that I started to realize my heart and my soul could actually feel something other than hurt. You placed comfort where there was fear, confidence when there was doubt, a shoulder where tears could fall, and completeness where there was emptiness. I wanted to hold on to this so badly that I did whatever it took for you to notice. What I didn't realize was that I could lose my entire being, all of who I was and all of that I had placed in you. I wanted to be the one who would be there when you needed to talk. I wanted to be the comfort for your soul when the world was too much to handle. I wanted to be strong for you when everything else seemed impossible. I wanted to love you in only the way you deserved to be loved, never realizing that I was destroying myself and you. Somehow I needed you to be a part of my life. The only problem was that I was willing to jeopardize everything to get that done. All the things that I told you about how I felt and how you make me feel were true. Nothing else mattered to me except hearing the laughter in your voice when you were happy. You made my days easy to get through and my nights peaceful. You helped me look forward to another day. Even though distance separated us, just being was enough. I'm sorry for hurting you, And if I had to do it all over again, I would have been 100% with you. Forgive me, please.
All right, so what do you think he did that he's apologizing in this way? Because I don't think they were a couple, right? Because he mentions friendship a couple of times.
Yes, with a but. You don't write a letter like this to someone who you want to stay friends with. You write a letter to someone who you have some kind of romantic or intense feeling for, right? So to me, this seems like a letter that was written to someone who was a great friend, and he's afraid of losing that because he cares even more for her.
Right. But yeah, I guess, but do you think he's confessing his love in a certain way here?
I think in some ways he's confessing a love. You can love your friends, that's okay. But more than that, he's apologizing for something that he thinks has completely destroyed their friendship. And that is where I'm very confused because I have no idea what he did.
Well, maybe he did something that let her down. Maybe he became jealous of her new boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe it's something catty, like he was supposed to do something with her and ended up doing something with other people and left her out or embarrassed her in front of people. It's hard to say.
Have you ever written an apology letter?
Yeah, I have. I've written a few apology letters. I have a very strong sense of guilt. I was raised Catholic. It happens.
So an apology letter, do you usually plan out what you want to say, or you just splurge your feelings onto the paper?
Well, you know me. My personality is very planned and organized, and so normally I have points. So I say, if this is the problem, there's 3 parts. I have an answer for each part, and at the very end, I have the heartfelt apology.
Oh, wow.
It's like an essay.
I guess it's a little bit more organized. If I were to write something like this, I would just start writing and whatever comes out. So it would probably make less sense than your letter.
Well, I just try to stay on focus, stay on point, and address the matter at hand, because otherwise then you get into other stuff and you can make people more angry.
Right. But it is really important to write an apology letter. Now, some of the words and phrases and the vocabulary used here can be used in circumstances that are not only romantic, right? You can be
Absolutely.
used in a professional way as well, right?
That's true. In a professional sense, you want to be careful not to get too personal. So
Right.
in a professional sense, it's good to say that, you're sorry for any mix-ups or for misunderstandings, but in the future you will try to make things better,
Right.
Or improve. But in friendships and in families and in romantic relationships, apology letters are very, very important because I'm a big believer in mending bridges. I know a lot of people who we say in English, to burn a bridge, that means to destroy a relationship and never go back. But I like to mend bridges to make sure that people who I was friends with don't, if we have a fight, don't just hate me forever.
Right.
That even if there's a disagreement, that they understand my perspective or that I understand theirs.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's important. What about apology emails? Do you agree with those?
I think that they are a necessity of the 21st century. I mean, I live far away from most of my friends and family, and so it's
Right.
important for me to be able to communicate in any way. But, and sometimes, I'm very shy with some people, so sometimes it's hard for me to talk on the phone because I get stuck and then I can't think of what I wanted to say. And so if a letter helps in that way to get you past your fear or your anxiety, then by all means, an email is just as much.
I actually
a good way.
received a handwritten letter through an email.
How did that happen?
So the person...
They scanned it.
They scanned the letter.
Oh, wow.
So it was still it still had a very intimate and personal sense. But obviously, since the mail takes so long and everything, they just scanned it and then they sent it to my email.
Well, that's nice.
So I think that's a good idea. Maybe
is.
you could try that one.
I'll try that one. I
All
don't
right.
agree with the one-line email. I'm sorry, forgive me.
Yeah, that's not good.
As my parents always used to say when I was growing up and I'd get in fights with my little brother, the only apologies that we accept are the ones that are from the heart.
Right.
So I used to have to apologize again and again and again until
You actually
I
meant
actually
it.
meant it. And
Right.
so I think that this is a very true kind of idea that well, maybe not in business and work where you have to be cordial.
Right.
With friends and real relationships with people
Right.
who you care about, obviously real apologies are very important.
Of course. So this is an interesting topic, and we recommend that if you have any other questions or doubts, or maybe you want some other explanation for this letter, you can come to EnglishPod.com, leave it in the comments section, and we'll be there. So until next time.
Bye.